RoboCop was one of the great sci-fi movies of the late 80s. It is really up there with The Predator, Terminator, and so on. But could they actually be about to make a decent sequel? Welcome to SciTrek, your sci-fi TV and movie channel. So for a couple of years now, there's been this project of RoboCop Returns bouncing around. This is actually a movie based on the original creator stories, a sequel that was actually supposed to happen years ago, based on a script written in the early 90s. Paul Verhoeven was supposed to retake the helm. The original writers like Michael Miner and Edward Numera, can't say that name, had actually created the script, and a couple of young guys had come in and modernized, revamped that original. But that has been stuck in development hell. Directors have come and gone, creators have left. Paul Verhoeven has no idea, and really, it's kind of been stuck. But I hear things from MGM, and this is a product that MGM own. I'm told that there's been a massive rethink by Amazon, and the RoboCop project is about to get back on the rails.
I'd buy that for $1.
Oh, by the way, guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification, share the video wherever the hell you want. And if you enjoy the content, please consider hitting the join button. Also, you can go to sci-trek.com and buy marvelous merchandise, like the t-shirt I'm wearing today. You can pick, which side is it? You can pick which SG team you want to join. People like to see reboots. I know people get irritated by it, but at the end of the day, people go to see them. The hardest thing to do when you've created a new movie or a new franchise or a new anything is to get people excited about it in the first place. An easy way to cut that problem out is just to revamp something that people already love. Now, in the last few years, movie makers have tried to do this and failed quite badly. Blade Runner 2049 was an absolute pile of crap. And so was the last couple of Terminator movies. But they keep trying. We are going to be getting Beverly Hills Cop 4 in the next 6 months. We're going to be getting a live-action He-Man movie, something I'm unnaturally excited about. But He-Man was always my favourite when I was a kid. He-Man cartoons are just the greatest. And as long as they keep Kevin Smith away from the live-action version, I'll be happy, I think. There is also a very big RoboCop game coming back next year that actually Paul Weller has actually done some filming for and is actually going to appear in. The game should be awesome. And when that hits, I should imagine between now and then, they'll also want the movie to follow it quite quickly. But RoboCop has had a revamp before. It had a reboot. Michael Keaton was actually quite good in it. But why did it fail? Well, it's really simple. It was bad. They tried to copy certain elements from the original Verhoeven movie, but they tried to do it in a 12A rating, which was just ridiculous. The original RoboCop shocked. That was the point. It was an adult movie. It was an 18 rating.
You have 20 seconds to comply.
I think you'd better do what he says, Mr. Kenny.
You now have 15 seconds to comply.
There are parts of that film, particularly at the start, where Murphy obviously gets taken down by the gang and gets his arm blown off and everything, that are genuinely shocking. It's quite actually difficult to watch even today. The special effects were dodgy in a few places, but that whole sequence was done phenomenally well. And there are stories about even the actors throwing up during filming because it was so violent and so realistic.
What is this shit?
Also, the design of the RoboCop was just crap. He looked stupid. And it's one of those things, again, isn't it, that apparently they have actors, when they sign on to franchises like this, they actually have in their contracts how much of their face is to be seen for how much percentage of the movie. And this is one reason why constantly the helmet opens up and you can see his full face. I hated it actually in the original movie when he finally emerges and he takes the helmet off. But I can see why they did it, because it was about trying to make the RoboCop more human and Murphy retaking his humanity. They didn't bother with that in the sequel. I think it was 2011. It was just crap. He constantly has his face open. Another thing that I really hated about the rebooted movie was the very clever but very boring problem between which is actually in control, man or machine, that the computer system could override Murphy basically and take over. Now, that was sort of implied in the original movie. I mean, we had the prime directives and things, but it was still Murphy. He'd had his memories wiped, but they did start to slowly come back. In this version, in the rebooted version, the way they did that was overly complicated, very, very technical. And it was supposed to be, I think, quite big thinking, that, you know, it was supposed to be a metaphor about the reality and the relationship between man and machine that we have in the modern world. But it just didn't work, and it was actually kind of boring. I really think any new rebooted version of RoboCop needs to be far more violent, far more aggressive, far more shocking, and really it should cut down to the bone. You know, that was another thing from the RoboCop movie, when we have little flashes of him, you know, putting the suntan lotion on. They tried again to copy that in the 2011 version, but they didn't shock enough. They didn't go far enough. They didn't have that "I'll buy that for $1" kind of scene, which, you know, made you stop and think. Instead, it felt forced. It felt a bit woke. So how could the RoboCop movie work? Well, I think it should be RoboCop: The Next Generation. Now, apparently, they were trying to get Paul Weller to come back, but the man's in his 70s. He refused. But what they wanted to do was do the old RoboCop and basically have, you know, the new ones coming through behind him, and then one of the enemies was going to be one of the RoboCops that, you know, turned against him or something, which to me would have been a bit too close to the script for what we've actually already seen in RoboCop 2, because that's basically what happened. But I would like to see a movie that was a direct sequel to RoboCop 2. Let's forget all the other things that happened, like the TV series and the couple of TV movies that they did, and that RoboCop 3 movie, which was just awful, where he's flying around at the end. Let's forget that ever happened. But I would like to see an actual sequel to the original RoboCops. You know, we're getting the game, so let's get something that works with the game. You know, let's get something as well that does feel a bit retro, does feel a little old-fashioned even in the way it's made. That was another problem with the new RoboCop movie, that they had him being very fast and jumping around and being able to jump and things. Now, I know why they did it. We all see on YouTube these videos from Boston Dynamics, these robots that can jump around like little ninjas. But it kind of took something away. The way RoboCop moved in the original one, the sound, how heavy he sounded, you know, like as he's walking along, that kind of made him cool. You know, he didn't jump around and prance around like a fucking deer. He was a robot, you know, and that made him really cool. But if they can actually make a movie that's a bit retro, that's incredibly violent and shocking, I mean, I want to come away from this movie going, did they need to do that? Because, you know, that's what we did from the original. You know, when the car goes through that guy that's doused in chemicals and he pops, we all, when we first saw the movie, went, Jesus, did they really need to do that? Did they actually do that? I remember going to school the next day and going, oh my God, I've just seen RoboCop and this happened. And my mates go, no. You know, it's got to be a little bit shocking. Now, that's going to be quite difficult in the modern age, but if you're creative and you're brave enough, you can do what Deadpool did for the Marvel movies. You can do something that does stand out from the crowd.
What are they going to do, replace us?
So, what do you think? Do you want to see a RoboCop reboot? Is this a character you need to see on your screens if they do it properly? Or should they just leave it alone? The original is great. The second one was okay. That'll do. Get in the comments and tell me exactly what you think. If you are new to the channel, please like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. It really helps us out. And don't forget, if you enjoy the content, please consider becoming a fully fledged Sci-Trekker. I don't want to rely on YouTube's pennies. As always, guys, please stay safe, and I'll see you next time.